for ISS Pulse, which is a brainchild of Dale, is to connect all of you consultants who are all over the United States working in the field, to connect all of the consultants to kind of the corporate team, which we're also all over the United States. We're not all stuck in one office and in the upper left part of the country. And then the third piece is just to create an opportunity or a forum where we can share something valuable. Now, Javier Alcaraz, who I'll introduce a little bit more later, he's going to be talking about how AI is changing our roles in safety right now. It's going to be a really interesting presentation. So, again, everybody, thank you. See here. Why don't you go ahead, Melinda, and share Oz?
Got it.
So you guys know that Oz is our kind of all-powerful intranet site, and it's gotten an overhaul recently. So there's new video on there. There's new navigation buttons to make it easier for everybody. And there's also a tab that says Meet Your Support Team. Is it going to load? There we go. Go ahead and scroll down. So I'm Brent Knight. Melinda, my wife actually founded ISS in 2007, and I took over the leadership full time in 2012. We've got Jacob Zollinger, who's our Chief Operating Officer. He's on the call. Javier, who I'll introduce more formally in a little bit. Got Corey Reedhead, our Director of Field Operations. Melanie Taylor, who's one of our client experience directors. We've got Dale Johns, who I introduced, our Director of Talent. Clint Sharp, who's also a client experience director, and a CSP, who's one of our staff consultants. We've got Cami Mahan, who all of you will be working with. Cami is taking over all of the onboarding and resource management from Melanie as she transitions over to her new role. We've got Ryan Knight, who's our VP of Finance. Pat Shea, who's our VP of Client Experience, which is sales. Got Nathan Sellers in recruiting. Abby Whetstone in recruiting. Mike Springer, who's one of the account managers out there grinding every day, finding opportunities for everybody. And Creed Fleming, who you all know from payroll. He is our guru of getting you guys paid. So
yay, Creed. Thank you, Creed.
that
Everybody's
is
best friend.
Yeah, that is the team, and the team's continuing to grow. We're working really hard to build our client relationships. We're kind of changing, in a way, the formality of the way we're going to market. And one of our biggest goals, actually, I would say our two biggest goals this year are client experience and consultant experience. And I know a lot of you talk to Corey and Abby and Nate and others all the time. If you have ideas, we love to hear them. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We want to make this a great place for people to work. We don't want it to be a stop along the way, and we're going to find really creative ways to do more and more for our team in the field. I wanted to share a little bit about the Above and Beyond Award winners. So I don't know how many we have on the call. I know Gary Edinburgh's here. Gary just won the Above and Beyond. Gary, awesome. Yeah. So Gary was our Q4 award winner. And I actually, if you guys don't follow the ISS LinkedIn page, I recommend you do. I film a monthly interview with somebody called What's Your Why? And on Monday morning, I interviewed Gary, and he shared a little bit about what he was doing up on the job site that he's on. It's a data center project. Third quarter was Esteban Leyva. Esteban's been with us for years now. Rob, you were the Q2 winner. Had a fantastic story. I'd love to interview you on that. And then Joe Chandler was our first quarter winner. And am I announcing our grand award winner, or is somebody else doing that?
You betcha you can.
So it was tough. We had some really philanthropic people that did some amazing things. But Mr. Edinburgh, we want to congratulate you for being the grand award winner. And that will be an award that will be put on your paycheck, on your next paycheck. So we really honor what you did. Now, just for those of you who don't know, Gary he took lots of leftover food from their Thanksgiving meal they had on site, and he took it out to the homeless. He took blankets. He had a guy come up to him who was cold, and he took his jacket off his own back and gave it to the guy. And I mean, literally brought tears to my eyes when we were talking on Monday morning. But Gary, you're a hero. You guys are all heroes. Just a fantastic thing that you did. So congratulations, Gary. This year we're kind of transitioning to the Selfie Challenge, and I know we've sent out a couple of the new ISS hats. And anybody who would like to participate in the selfie challenge, you can just info or email info at iss-safe.com with your mailing address, and we'll send you a trucker hat. You want to take a selfie of yourself wearing that hat somewhere on the job site. Just make sure there are no safety violations in the background. Submit the form. Believe it or not.
Oh
You,
yeah,
you
it's
can
so
you can
embarrassing when that
you,
happens.
you can also take a pic, Brent, you can also take a picture, with if you're out doing something fun too. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be on the project.
yeah,
So if you do have a project or a situation where you can't take pictures, do something outside. If you're going on a hike or, the point is though, you have the ISS, hat on, and then we donate to a charity, Brent. So
yeah.
just make sure.
So if you participate, there's a form on Oz. You fill it out with the charity you want us to donate to, and we will donate to that charity in your name. Um, so finally, I think I'd like to introduce Javier
Oh,
Alcaraz.
Hey,
Yeah,
Brent.
yeah.
I think Dale was going to talk about the referral program, though.
Oh, yeah, I skipped that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, that's okay, Brent. No, thanks. Hey guys, Dale Johns, head of talent, as Brent mentioned. Wanted to mention a couple programs. I think some of you probably already knew about these, but want to make sure that everybody's aware of an opportunity to make a few extra bucks. I've been in talent acquisition for 20 plus years, a long, long time. And I can tell you the most successful hires a company typically is going to make are employee referrals. And
Yes.
we want to have a program where we incentivize everybody to refer great talent. And if we get them hired, there is a bonus involved. It's a $500 payroll bonus. If you refer a great talent, we get them hired onto a project. Best way to do it is either send a resume and a message to recruiting at the alias there. I think this is on Oz as well. Uh, Correct if I'm wrong, Melinda, but or you can send to me directly. Either way, and we'll track those. I'll keep you guys updated. We've had a few employer referrals here recently, and a couple. I think at least one I can think of right now that's in process for an interview. So again, good people know good people, so always interested in any referrals you may have. And then also on the client side, you guys are out there. You guys are ears to the ground. A lot of times you might hear of other opportunities. We want to incentivize anybody who has referrals of projects or openings that ISS can jump in and impact. And again, an opportunity to get bonus there. The amount, I believe it's up to $750, but it's really going to vary on the duration, the type of project. Again, you can shoot those to me directly. We'll get those in the hands of our salespeople and keep you updated. To be clear, though, I don't want everybody out on site looking for opportunities, on your project. This is really for if you hear of other opportunities, if somebody approaches you for something, but you're already working for us, we'd love to know about them. So if you have any questions on it, just feel free to reach out to me directly.
Thank you, Dale.
Okay,
Yeah,
that,
we're really committed to trying to keep this team, and we cherish all of you. And if we can keep you working the rest of your careers with ISS, that's what we prefer. If it's possible, we'll do everything we can to serve you in that way. So with that, we'll have one of these each quarter, and obviously participation's optional, but this is fantastic. We have 33 people here today, which I didn't expect. I'm touched. I'd like to introduce Javier Alcaraz. Javier came on board with ISS recently. He's worked with Jacob for many years, and he ran a major consulting division of a very large international consulting firm. Javier is a certified industrial hygienist. He's a certified safety professional, and he has a master's in industrial hygiene. So with that, Javier, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully you can see my screen. Thank you, Brent, for the introduction. Very nice. super happy to be joining the group here and talking about artificial intelligence. It's a area of strong interest for me. I've been in a
Hey, Javier, somehow you got muted. There you go.
okay. How's that? All right. It's really transformed the way I do work these days, and for the better. Now I cannot imagine not using some form of AI in my daily work schedule. It's made me more efficient, more effective, and really allowed me to do more with less. So and work smarter in that way. So thank you all for joining. Before I get started, I'd love to kind of understand where everyone is. So there is a little react button. For those of you who aren't driving or in a safe place, there's a little react button at the bottom of your screen. I'll ask a couple questions, and if you could throw a thumbs up if in fact you are yes to the question. I'd love to see where everyone stands. So first question, how many of you are actually using AI tools like ChatGPT, or there's Gemini or other versions of those generative AI tools online? Okay, so it looks like a fair number, not everyone, which is fine. Next question. How many of you have any major concerns about using AI, either whether you've heard about it either taking your job or privacy or providing incorrect information or anything like that? Okay, a couple, not very many. And another question, how many are actually using it for work purposes, for example, to help you with toolbox talks or checklists or training or anything like that? Okay, a lot of you. Wow. Okay, that's great. That is great to see. So this presentation is really designed for people of all the levels. I think many of us are just starting to get comfortable with artificial intelligence. Others have been using it for a while, and others, probably are really comfortable in using it for some advanced areas as well. But this presentation is really designed for those folks that are just exploring it, just discovering it, and want to learn more. Maybe in the future we'll have a similar presentation where we could go into those more advanced use cases. But let's start with what AI is and why it matters. So AI is, like I said, transformed the way I do work, and it is doing the same thing for very many people. It has the ability to cut down paperwork. It could help us spot hazards faster and quicker out in the field or back in the office. It helps us with writing reports and improve our quality on our outputs and deliverables, and overall, if it is able to cut down the time we do work and spend more time out in the field building relationships and spotting hazards, that overall is a great thing, right? So on the that said, you don't have to be an expert AI, scientist or computer scientist to use it. If you can basically take photos and share photos and Google search and so forth, you could probably use AI pretty quickly and start using it today. So it doesn't take a whole lot of professional skills to use at least the generative AI tools like ChatGPT that many are using out there. So don't be intimidated by getting started, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what AI is not, or what it won't do, is it won't replace your job, at least today. Um, that said, there are many experts are saying that those folks that are not using AI um, will could be at a disadvantage in the future, because the folks that are using AI are becoming more effective, more efficient, and it's helping them a lot more. So it will be a good idea for you to start learning those skills, start using AI, because the person that can use it and use it effectively will likely be much more effective than the person that is not using it. So I very much encourage you to start exploring it and testing it. The other thing it will not do is make decisions for you. So human intelligence is at the forefront of everything we do. So it will not make the final decision for you, but it can help you prepare to make effective decisions. And it doesn't, in the same vein, it doesn't eliminate your judgment. Your judgment is super important. We don't want to take that out of the equation. So make sure that that when we are out there performing assessments, and we need to implement some corrective guidance for corrective actions, it's our judgment that's most important in these situations. And it requires your verification as well. So there's an old saying, trust but verify, and that's the same thing goes with AI. Too many people are putting too much trust in the outputs and their errors, and I'll even show you an example of one of those things when we get to it. So there's some immediate opportunities for again, some efficient ways to use artificial intelligence. A lot of safety professionals are using it for toolbox talks. It allows you to generate toolbox talks in a matter of minutes. You just type in a few prompts on the topic that you're looking for, how long you want it to be, in the format and so forth, and it could spit something out to you in a matter of seconds. It help you with reports as well. So you could take your rough notes and put them into the system, and it will help you draft a full report in any format that you want. It could take your notes from an incident investigation or an inspection report and summarize those for you in a professional manner, or even something more straightforward that you could share with other team members. It could simplify some complex regulations. I know there are tons of OSHA regulations that are hard to understand and super long. You could put some information in there on the regulation you want to learn more about, and you could summarize them in plain language for you. And it could also be a great way for you to get reminders as well. And in the system, it could also help you with crafting emails. So if you want to send an email to another coworker or a tradesperson that you want promise some information for, it could actually help you start crafting that information, put it in a way that will resonate with that person, and then allow you to send that out pretty quickly and effectively as well. Another cool thing is being able to have almost an OSHA compliance officer assistant on call for you at the ready. So with a mobile device, oftentimes when I've done audits over the year, and I've observed a finding or an issue out in the field, not exactly sure if what regulation it applies to, or if it's even an issue or a compliance problem. With AI, you could punch in a regulation and ask it, for example, what's the definition of a permit required confined space, as a reminder, and it will give you an immediate answer pretty quickly, and you don't even need to care about spelling. So, another example, what should I inspect on an aerial lift before I use it under 29 CFR 1926? It'll spit out that information really quickly for you. So it's a great way to look up regulatory information on the ready out in the field, and it's almost like having a compliance officer in your wallet. Another example is finding issues as well. So there's many of these AI tools will allow you to upload photos. So you could upload the photo and ask it to identify issues or hazards. And here's a couple examples. So for example, here's a photo that I took while I was sitting on the tarmac on a Southwest flight. And I asked it, hey, what are the hazards that you see in this photo? And it spit out this information pretty quickly. So clearly fall protection issues. This fella here doesn't have any guardrails or anything that would protect him from falling over. So that was first and foremost. Walking and working surfaces below as well, with some potential trip hazards for ground crews. It also mentioned safe use of powered industrial equipment. So here's an interesting thing. It also mentioned airport ground equipment standards. So this is an area that that it piqued my, gave me my spidey sense started tingling, and I'm like, I did not know that OSHA had airport ground equipment standards. So after searching a little bit, I realized that or verified that OSHA does not have specific airport ground equipment standards. So this is where it could actually come up with errors or what they call hallucinations. So it's important that the information that provides you verify it and make sure that it is accurate. And again, here's another example where I uploaded a photo of some gloves and I asked it, hey, what are the compliance issues around these dirty gloves? And it gave some excellent examples that I should consider. Writing reports is a great way to use AI. I know oftentimes when I'm writing, starting a report, it's tough to get started and or maybe summarize it. So it could help you with using some rough notes and converting them into a narrative. It could help you out with some wording. It could help you create some action items as well, especially if you have some findings. It could give you some language to help you with those corrective actions. And summarizing, it's great at doing that as well. So a lot of different ways that, again, it could allow you to save time for those reports that that you need to get out, especially at the end of the day on a Friday when you're trying to get out. It's a great way to leverage AI and make sure that you're doing great work, but also using efficient use of your time. And here's an interesting way I used it as well. So as I mentioned, you can use your rough notes to create a report. I was interviewing Brent when I first started, and I was asking him, "Hey, tell me a little bit more about ISS and its origin story. Tell me about how it got started, and what differentiates ISS from other companies and our competitors." And I just literally, you could see on my chicken scratch notes here, you could barely read them. I took a photo of them, entered them into ChatGPT, and I told them just transcribe it. And it did that, and that's the little image on the top or the middle left. And then I asked it, hey, with these notes, create a narrative, create a story around that. And just as an exercise, and it actually created a really, just with those simple notes, it created an amazing story and kind of filled in some of the blanks as well. So it's a really cool tool to be able to and creative way to build on information that we have and help us with what we need to do. For example, training. It's a great way to build training outlines, Oftentimes, if we're creating training from scratch, or if we're changing training for a particular topic or need, it's a great way to do that. Building quiz questions or translating content from a language to language. Awesome way to use AI to help us out with those items. But to get started, you really need to, not unlike when we use Google, you have to enter in what you're looking for. And oftentimes with more information, you'll get more specificity, you'll get to better results. So here's a couple examples of ways you can use prompting, or in other words, instructions, to be able to get what you're looking for. So if you just say, I want, write a toolbox talk on ladder safety, it'll do that for you. But if you say, generate a 5-minute talk on inspecting, setup, and common mistakes with ladder safety, and turn it into toolbox talk, it'll provide you a much better output and something you're looking for. Sometimes you have to give it multiple prompts, and once it gives you an output, then you might have to do some follow-up as well. And so just kind of looking into the future, there's some amazing use cases that I see coming down the pike with artificial intelligence. For example, they'll likely be, they're already experimenting with putting in PPE sensors into our hard hats and our vests that'll allow us to monitor heat stress and detect people that may have fallen. Some of these sensors could potentially track the weather or chemical exposures. They're already using cameras to spot spills or trip hazards or PPE issues, people not wearing the PPE. And they're also using AI to generate videos from scratch, so that are super realistic and actually look like they were filmed out in the field. So some cool use cases that I see. It's really going to improve our profession. And even the longer horizon, there's some really cool things. So using AI as a digital assistant. So as AI becomes, smarter and there are better ways to actually automate our daily process. So we'll actually be able to use AI to review our emails, to summarize emails for us, and ping us when there's something important. There'll be use cases where what's called vision capture, where more advanced ways that cameras will be able to spot issues and hazards and even trends and report them to supervisors and safety guys real time. And even there's some experimenting with robotics and drones as well, where they'll be able to use those equipped with cameras to do a lot of these things real time as well. So some really cool things coming down the pike, and I think it's really going to transform our profession. But that said, there are some things that you should be aware of as well. Data and privacy is a big concern for not only companies, but ISS as well. What we want to be super careful with is when and if we're using AI, we don't ever want to include our clients' names or personal information into AI, because all that information is going into the cloud, and it could come back and they could potentially trace it back to the company. So we never want to do that. Put any client names or photos as well. We don't want to put any photos with any people's faces or any recognizable traits into those systems. Like, for example, when we're doing training, try to keep it generic for the start. And once it provides you some output, then you can maybe put some more site-specific or client information once it's out of the the platform. And again, leave out sensitive data, no descriptors, social securities or job IDs or anything that could trace that back to our job sites or our work. And another important thing is to never totally trust and always verify the output. So like the example I gave earlier, it will produce information that might sound true, but not exactly. So you always have to use the HI, use your human intelligence, and go back, check the regulations, make sure it's accurate. If something is sounds right, but you're not exactly sure, and it's your spidey sense is tingling, double check your work and make sure that the information is accurate before you send it out. And lean on your team as well. You could always, if there's someone that you know that really knows the subject matter much more, have them review your work if possible before you send it to your stakeholders. And so getting started is really, really simple. If you haven't done it already, set up an account on ChatGPT or any one of those other systems. And some of them don't even require you to set up an account, but just try a prompt. Put in there and say, hey, what kind of safety PPE is best for fall protection, or whatever you're wrestling with, and start playing with it. You cannot break it at all. Use it for your toolbox talks. If you're struggling with getting new or creating new toolbox talks, try it out and see if it can give you some ideas. You could potentially simplify a procedure as well in the same way, or have it draft a checklist for you. So when you're out doing walkarounds, you could do a focus checklist and it'll help you create one. So there's a lot of different ways you could use it, and they're limitless. And if you want to learn a little bit more about how to use it, especially for those beginners, YouTube is a great place to explore. Type into open up YouTube and ask it, hey, I'm just starting using AI. What are some AI essentials or AI for beginners? If you put that in there, a bunch of videos will pop up and you can start checking them out and give you some great ideas on how to use it. And there's some other links here as well that you could explore, and it'll help you out and get started. So with that, I'd definitely like to open it up and see if anyone has any questions and see if we can help you.
Real quick, for all the attendees out there, I'm making a list, and before people drop off, who is Boone Senior? How about Jacob?
Hey, I think well, Jacob's me, Brent. Jacob's Oninger. Yep, and I think that's Charles Boone, if I'm not mistaken.
What is Charles Boone?
Yeah.
All right, and then Samsung SM5 or F. Do we know who that is?
I think that's the same, and user is Tim Spencer. So Brent, I did what you're doing right now, and I'm going to send it to you.
Awesome.
I got you.
And just so everybody knows, if you're a credential holder, a BCSP credential holder, and you need CEUs, you can use this PowerPoint and you can claim, whenever we finish up, 30, 45 minutes as a COC credit. And you just have to document the date, the time, what was covered, who the speaker was, Xavier Alcaraz. We can get you a copy of the PowerPoint, and you can use that towards your CEU renewal when you renew your cert.
And this is all going to be posted too. He's going to say that, but up in Oz, and we'll also have a PDF of this accessible.
Yeah, great call out, Brent. That was a good point.
Yeah. one real world example too, Javier. Uh, Corey and I sit on a safety committee for for the renewable energy industry. And one of the people who we're pretty close with, they initiated a dash cam program in all their company vehicles, inward and outward facing. And one evening, they had a fella who was driving back to his place. It was a traveling job. And unfortunately, he was coming from a restaurant where he maybe had one too many, and he actually fell asleep and went off the road, started going into a field. The dash cam was screaming at him, saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up," filming the whole thing, and immediately notified the company what happened. And by the time that he stopped in the field without really causing any real damage, the company had already been notified that he was in an incident and they already had access to the video and everything. Absolutely incredible use of AI.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great technology. That's what I referred to earlier as vision capture. So it is becoming so effective and responsive that it could find issues real time, put those notifications out, and even alert the person that is at risk and warn them that, hey, either it's getting too hot, or there's a chemical in your area, or you're falling asleep. Wake up.
X, I've got a question for you. It's kind of the opposite of what you presented, but what are kind of some of the don't do's when we're talking about leveraging AI on client sites?
Yeah. Yeah, so a few of the don'ts I mentioned earlier as well. So I can't stress enough how important it is not to put in sensitive information into those AI systems, especially if they're not firewalled. So there's more and more companies are setting up systems that are protected, and there's a little bit more flexibility to to use more sensitive information because it's protected. But for the lion's share of us who are using those systems that are either free or not enterprise systems, we want to be super careful with using or inputting any protected information. So,
Can I tease that out?
Sure.
I think you're going to have to be extremely careful at Boeing and at any U.S. government site.
Yeah, big time.
Okay, because the feds, at least on the projects I have worked on, there are Marines who are authorized to use deadly force. If you look stupid, no questions asked. At Boeing, if you've got an AI-enabled device that they don't know about, you'll be marched off the site. And it's going to look really, really bad for ISS. So think about where you are, because again, my concern is even if we mask the names and mask the site, if our phones have geolocation on and we're using our phones to do the documentation,
Yeah.
that's an exposure I know ISS does not want.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Paul. And really everybody on a job has site specific rules to make sure that they understand and follow. And that's a really good call out. But it's not just government sites. We've got folks on sensitive data center sites on this group on the phone today. They got to worry about the same sort of thing. I think, Javier, you hit it, and I was busy trying to figure out who the anonymous people were, but I'll just reinforce too, don't take the AI output without for its word, right? You guys are experts in safety, each and every single one of you, and you know more than it, and you have better judgment than it. If you also aren't quite sure with what it produced, they've got a whole handling team here that can get you the right expert to answer some of the tougher questions. It's pretty impressive. I did the whole waste tank integrity assessment.
It should be a really good tool.
It's super good, yeah, but it's not gospel, right? You guys are experts and smarter than it. Adam, I see you coming off mute. I'm sure you've got a good story from Bowen about that.
Well, no, I'll just say, it's like anything else. You ask it questions. When it gives you something, act like it's not true and ask it questions. And it'll, you dive into the information. It's like anything else. it's got a lot of good input, but yeah, sometimes it'll give you some really bad input. But like you said, you guys are the experts. But ask it good questions, and it'll dive into what it thinks it knows and kind of question itself. So
Yeah, that's a great call out, Adam. And what I'm actually starting to do as well is challenging it. It's okay to challenge it. There's been stuff that it's given me, and I said, "This is crap," or "What did you base this on?" And I ask it to give me sources or where did this come from, and you make it tell you where it got this information. When in one case it said, oh, I just made the assumption dot dot dot, and I said, no, never make an assumption. And I told it, make that a default, never make an assumption when you give me a response, and it can do that for you.
yeah, one good thing is when you say cite your sources, when you ask something, it makes it actually question itself and cite its sources. So
yeah, or think harder is another good prompt to put in when you're asking it something.
I had Chat GPT tear apart a deposition by somebody in an expert witness case, and it was very interesting what it gave me. I didn't use it per se, but I definitely evaluated the arguments.
Yeah. One other thing to note, based on your response, Paul, earlier is, if we're out on client sites, it's always good to know and understand what the client's AI policy is. So if that information is available to us, some of our clients will have policies on using artificial intelligence. Many tech forward companies are embracing it. Others may be more sensitive or may not want it being used on sites. And if we're giving, and we also have to be transparent when we're using it as well. So if we used AI heavily to create a training or a toolbox talk, it's okay to put it at the footer, inspired by artificial intelligence or something like that. And that way, we're transparent, but also it also, it's a benefit it shows that we're using the latest tech tools to be able to help us improve our own work. Any other questions? You could drop them in the chat as well.
Yeah, well, I just had a comment. As someone who personally has significant hearing loss, I'm very intrigued by the possibility of individual monitoring of sound levels, during the workday, because I think this is one of the areas in safety that we don't manage very well. And even though you may put your ear protectors on, when you're at a certain part of the work site, then you go out and you walk through a noisy area. And I think AI could provide very good minute-to-minute integrated evaluations of hearing exposure, because even 85 decibels is a good number, but the world doesn't change plus or minus at 85 decibels, and I'd really like to see what a microphone on a hard hat would say about an 8 hour noise exposure when you could actually monitor everybody could monitor minute to minute.
Yeah, definitely. And also, again, warning or notifying the user, hey, if they're not wearing their hearing protection, or if there's some peak noise levels that are hazardous. In some cases, what they're doing is integrating like a little haptic or like a buzz, and saying, hey, almost like what your smartwatch does to let you know to change directions or whatever, or you got a message coming in. It'll do that to warn you that there's a hazard that you're being exposed to, and to look up or put your hearing protection in. So it's a good point, Rand, and hopefully in the near future those smart sensors will be able to not only track noise, but heat, illumination, and a whole host of hazards and/or risks out in the workplace. All right. Any other questions? There's a question in the chat. Are there any AI certifications worth pursuing? That is a really good question. I'm not aware of any, but there are tons of training out there. Like, for example, Google has a bunch of training to introduce folks to artificial intelligence, and even more advanced training as well. So for our profession, I would probably say there isn't any at this point that I would necessarily pursue. I would just start getting comfortable and familiar with it. Eventually, as it becomes more advanced, and there might be some more use cases, like, for example, using sensors for artificial intelligence or data analytics. Those certifications might be more worth. There may be some certifications that could pop up, but at this point, nothing related to safety or EH&S that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and Rick, that's a good question. We don't get client requests for that. When we see technological oriented certifications from clients, and we got to find people with that on the resume, they're typically asking for things like certification as a Procore administrator, or kind of that sort of thing. So as a profession, we kind of lag behind on technologically oriented certs. So I agree with Javier. We really don't get those requests from clientele yet. I'm sure it'll come one day.
Is there much AI involved at this point in the current version of Procore? Does anybody know?
Good question.
I would not be surprised if it was. I mean, most of the software platforms are using AI in different ways. Not unlike Copilot for Microsoft products. So and that was the case before ChatGPT and some of those other chatbots were really popularized and put out and kind of made available to all of us. The AI has been in use in retail and some of those other systems and platforms, but in the background.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more available to us to use in different use cases as we want. So I would not be surprised if some of these systems like Procore are using it already.
Jacob, just saw your comment in the chat there. It's interesting. Let's check that out.
Yeah, and it's more about planning, which is really kind of Procore's primary demographic, anyways, and less about the safety aspects of that solution. But almost all of the EHS platforms are starting to incorporate it. The Intellexes and Enablon's kind of the big shop softwares, which I think we run across less so in the construction environment. They're more like management system platforms, but they're all doing it. And I think really kind of what I've seen in the software kind of play is what Javier had on there. One of his slides about image recognition and hazard capture and that kind of stuff. And in the ASSP chapter here where I live, one of our board members is Heath Foote, who's a regional risk manager for Meta, and they're using it on their sites like crazy. I mean, they're walking the site, snapping a picture, a photo, and it's helping them do hazard identification. And even him, who's 30 years in the business and certainly an expert, it'll catch stuff they walk right past, which is really, really cool. That's a niche software provider. I can't remember the name of it, but that's all they do is AI image recognition for hazards, which is kind of cool.
And
We'll stick around for a few minutes if anybody has anything to share, has any additional questions. We really appreciate everybody showing up tonight. I believe we're going to send out a quick survey via email that should be coming to your inbox. And that'll be going, what, tomorrow?
Uh, at least this week, yeah, we'll get something together.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We'll have another one of these in April, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we don't know the exact date. Yeah, it'll probably be every quarter.
and if I can steal the mic just for like 30 seconds, I'm super excited that we had such a good turnout. Thank everybody for doing that. And I love seeing folks not on our payroll right the second being on this call. That's just incredible to me. So thank you for that. We're taking note of that. Folks like Tim down in Austin, not missed on us. We're working really hard to find you guys the next best thing. And just really wanted especially to shout out to the folks who are joining us and not technically on the team. You guys are still part of the family. We're working really hard to keep everybody moving in the right direction. So thank you for being here. And congrats to Gary. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Can I ask a quick question? I remember using Chat GTP about 3 years ago and didn't know if there was any recommendations of what's one of the better ones to use now, whether it be free or paid.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and ChatGPT is the most popular one, but there's several different options out there. And actually, it had a little blog about this on LinkedIn that I posted a while back. So I'll send that to the team so they could post it on Oz along with this presentation as well. So there are some versions that are a little better than others. For example, there's Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Liner, and they all have different use cases. So I'll plot that in there, and it'll give you a little more guidance on, hey, this one is the best one, for example, for image generation or for producing PowerPoint presentations or what have you. And that could give you a little bit more direction on which ones to use and when.
Is that the same article that I posted
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually on Oz. So it's in our
Perfect.
blog section. Yeah. So there's quite a bit of, so if everything that's on LinkedIn is what we try to duplicate in Oz for you. So it's easy to find.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Good question, Steve. And congrats, Gary and Rob. Yeah, we don't have the other two winners on with us today, but amazing stuff with the Above and Beyond award. That's super, super cool. So thanks for doing that. And get you guys some selfies in. That'll be a ton of fun. Lots more chances to win this year than last year. We only got 5 chances to win last year, but we got an infinite number of times to win on the selfie challenge.
Yeah, all that's on Oz.
Oh yeah. Hey, thank you for that. And yeah, I'm waiting on my trucker hat right now. I already got a bunch of different ideas. I have a bunch of different ideas already to get it in. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
So is it true, Jacob, that you're sending us out with a song tonight off this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't think I can do it, Gary. And I'll tell you what, man, what goes around comes around. I'll put you on the spot next time, but you don't want to hear me sing. Trust me, these guys have seen it and it's bad. It takes a couple of beers for that. Next time.
Yeah, give us your best Bad Bunny impression. I think along with the image, there was who was it? Was it Rick? Made it.
Yeah. I think Rick did, yeah. Hard pass for me, guys. Trust me, you don't want to hear that or see that.
Well, thanks again, everybody. Everybody have a great evening. We really appreciate you all, and we'll see you on the next one around.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Have
Thanks,
a good night.
guys.
Have a great night.
Take care.